Okay, so today we're we're going to talk about the surface area and the volume of a sphere. Okay, so we've already talked about different solids like pyramids, cones, prisms, cylinders. Today we're going to talk about our last one, which is a sphere. Okay, so the surface area of a sphere, the formula for that is S equals 4 pi r squared. Okay, where does that come from? Think of a baseball, okay? Everyone's seen a baseball, right? Or at least knows what a baseball is. Okay, so if you cut down the seams, you're going to get two pieces that look something like that, right? Kind of, okay? But those circles are going to be the same, right? So if you take this one and kind of rotate it and lay it over this one, you're going to get something that looks like that, right? Okay, so how many circles do you see there?
4.
4. What's the area of a circle?
4 pi r squared.
Ah, okay. So that's kind of where that comes from. You've got 4 circles, and each of their area is pi r squared. Okay, so now that we know that, this great circle idea, okay, if you think about like the equator, right, or the prime meridian, okay, that's a great circle. So if you cut like a sphere in half, right, and take that cross section, you see a circle, right? Okay, so the great circle is just that circle that goes around the sphere like that. So you can have a great circle that goes like that, maybe. There we go. And around the sphere backwards. You can get one that goes around this way. It doesn't matter really how it's oriented, it just has to go all the way around, okay? It has to have a diameter inside of it. So that's how you find the diameter of one of these spheres, okay? It's the diameter of one of these great circles, okay? So that's really a very mathy way of getting to the fact that the diameter is just going to be, it includes the center of the circle, okay? Everybody good with that? All right. So if we want to find the surface area, what's our formula? Surface area is 4 pi r squared. Exactly right. What's our r here? What's our radius? 8. So surface area is going to be 4 pi, I don't know why I put a parenthesis, 8 squared. That gives us 4 times pi times 64. 8 squared is 64. Okay. In terms of pi, our surface area is going to be 256 pi. And what's our unit going to be?
Inches squared.
Squared. Inches squared. Okay. Anytime you're working with surface area, you're going to have square units. You're going to have inches squared, meters squared, something like that. Okay. Volume is always going to be cubed. If they're asking for a specific thing like a radius or just a linear measurement like that, then it's just your standard feet, inches, that kind of thing. Okay? So we have 256 pi. If you approximate that, you get 804.25 inches squared. I think on the assignment it asks for both, so not like on the same question, but I think you have to type it in both ways. So, all right, but we've done that before. You guys know how to do that. So, what's that 40 feet on this next one? A diameter. How do we get the radius from diameter? Divide by 2, right? So if we want our radius, that's just going to be our diameter, which is 40, divided by 2. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So our radius is 20 feet. Okay, now we can plug it into that formula. So we've got S equals 4 pi times our radius that we just found, which is 20. What's 20 squared? 400. So you got S equals 4 times pi times 400. What's 400 times 4? 1600. And that is feet squared, right? So your area in terms of pi, your surface area in terms of pi, is 1600 pi feet squared. Okay, anybody have an approximation for that yet?
How?
5,026.5.
0.55 feet. Whoops, that, I had no idea what that was. Feet squared. Okay. Circumference equals 12 pi feet. How are we going to start this one? I like that idea. Did anybody hear Jesse?
No.
Say it louder.
Equation for the circumference of a circle.
Right, if we know what the circumference is, can't we find the radius from that? Okay, so what's the formula for the circumference of a circle? Pi times diameter, right? Now I can take diameter. We are said over here, right? Diameter is just 2 times the radius. So I can take the diameter out and put in 2r. Okay, so we have 12 pi equals, I'm going to rearrange 2 and pi. Since it's multiplication and it's commutative, I can do that. So I have 2 pi r. How do I get r by itself? Divide by 2 pi. Okay, pi divided by pi, the pi's are going to cancel. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So r is 6. All right, now we can plug into our formula, right? We have surface area equals 4 pi times r squared. We said r is 6. So I'm going to get s equals 4 times pi times 36. S equals 144 pi. What are my units going to be?
Feet squared.
Feet squared. Okay, and what's the approximation for that? What's 144 times pi? 452 point what? 39 feet squared. Any questions on that? All right. So if we know the surface area, we can work backwards and find the radius or the diameter. Okay? So what's our formula again? S equals 4 pi r squared. Okay? Now we know S, right? That's this right here. So we can plug that in. 20.25 pi equals 4 pi r squared. What should we do first? Jordan, what do you think? Divide by 4 pi. I agree. Divide each side by 4 pi. If you prefer, you can divide by 4 and then divide by pi. You'll get the same answer. If you're using the calculator, though, make sure that you put the pi in parentheses. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay, so r squared, what'd you guys get there? R squared equals 5.0625. Do you guys agree? Yeah, I agree as well. 5.0625. Okay, how do you undo a square root? Or a square?
Square root.
You're welcome. All right, square root. Absolutely. Okay, that'll cancel those out. So you just get your radius, which is going to equal square root of 5.0625. 2.25. Okay, and what is our unit there? Centimeters.
Wait, were we supposed to find the diameter?
Oh, we were, weren't we? Okay. How do we find the diameter from the radius? Multiply by 2. Okay. So our diameter is going to be 4.5 centimeters. And just centimeters, right? We're finding a linear measurement right now. Okay? All right, try this one with your partner. See what you get.
Square. First we're going to divide by 4 pi. 7.5 r squared.
How did you get 2 out of the 4? Or not?
2.7.
That's what you did.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Hell. I might have done it wrong.
I know, probably.
So 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. And you have to square root that. 2 pi.
Okay, I think I see what I did. Because I did the pi.
Oh.
I got you.
Make sure if you do put the pies in, you can put the pie in front of this.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I did work for that. That's for the circumference. So you have to find the radius. That's the
Huh.
Yeah, that's different.
That's right. It's the same thing we did up here. Divide.
Oh, you have to put the whole
Right?
thing.
But for this one,
The whole thing.
I don't know. Yeah, I got that too.
All right, so let me start the video back up. All right, what'd you guys get?
2.74
2.74
meters.
meters. Okay. If you had square root of 7.5, those are the same thing, right? Okay. Awesome. Any questions on this? Awesome. All right, so we've done surface area now, okay? That's the area around the outside, right? Now let's talk about the volume. So when I cut this, I was a little careless. So, surprise, that's the formula for the volume of a sphere. Okay, so volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, r is still your radius. Why do you think we have r cubed and not, usually we've had like r squared, right? Why would we have r cubed? Because it's volume, okay? I like what you're saying. Volume has 3 measurements that we need to take into account, right? Like a length, a width, a height. Okay, but so on a sphere, if you compare it to like a cylinder, right, we had r squared and then times h, right? But on a sphere, your height is kind of another radius, right? Okay, it's technically another diameter, but if you're just looking at like the one piece of it. Okay, so that's why we're using r cubed right now, not r squared. So, finding the volume of a sphere. A ball is a sphere, right? Yeah. Okay. Hopefully I didn't like shatter anyone's like worldview with that statement. But anyway, so you have the volume of a soccer ball. Do we have the radius?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have everything we need, right? Volume is going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. We said that our r is 4.5. So we've got 4.5 cubed times pi, maybe, times 4, divide by 3. All right, did you guys get 381.7? Awesome. So the volume is going to be 381.7. And what's my units going to be?
Inches cubed.
Inches cubed. Volume is always cubed. Absolutely. What's the formula for surface area again?
4 pi r squared.
4 pi r squared, right? So here they're giving us the surface area of the sphere. They're saying that's 324 pi. Okay, but we want to find the volume. So how are we going to go from surface area to volume?
Find the radius and then do the volume of the sphere.
What do you guys think? Find the radius and then use the formula for volume? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so surface area, we said that was 4 pi r squared. So 324 pi equals 4 pi r squared. How are we going to get r squared by itself? Divide by 4 pi. Okay, and you get r squared is equal to 81. Yeah. So r squared is 81. What's r have to be then? 9, right? The square root of 81 is 9. So now we have our radius. 9. Okay, now we can find our volume. So volume, what's our formula for volume then? 4/3 pi times r cubed. Okay, we said r is 9, so we're going to have volume equals 4/3 pi times 9 cubed. Nine cubed, I believe, is 729. Yeah. 729. Okay, so what'd you get for the overall volume? What do you do now? So now you have 4/3 pi times 729. I would go to my calculator and I'd put in 729. And I would times that by pi. And then I have times 4/3. So I would put in parentheses 4 divided by 3. And then times that by that answer we got up here to get the final one. Does that make sense? Okay, so did you guys get 3053.63? Yeah. So volume is 3053.63. And since it's volume, we're going to have centimeters cubed. All right, any questions on that one? Awesome. All right. So what does it mean to have a composite solid? I see a lot of
Hollow.
what?
Hollow wood solid.
Yeah, basically, right? It means that you're taking a bunch of different figures and making one figure. Okay, so like you're hollowing out a solid. Okay, so if we want to take the volume of this composite solid, what's the part that we're hollowing out? What does that kind of look like? A bowl, right? What? A weird shaped bowl, absolutely. A bowl that's not going to stand up right? What is that called in math, though? half of a sphere, which is North America is in the northern hemisphere, right? Okay, if you're a car person, right, like Dodge Hemi engines are called Hemis because the head of the cylinder where the piston is shaped like a hemisphere. It adds a little bit of power because the volume's a little bit less. If you know what I'm talking about, awesome. If you're like, what? Then go with the hemisphere thing, okay? So, what we have here, we have the volume of the whole thing. Okay, so the volume of our solid is equal to the volume. What's our big shape? What's the shape that we're hollowing out?
A cylinder.
A cylinder. Cylinder. Okay, and then since we're hollowing that, we're taking area, or we're taking volume away, right? So it's going to be minus. And then what's that other shape we were just talking about?
Sphere. Hemisphere.
Hemisphere, right? So minus the volume of the hemisphere. Okay, hemisphere is just half a sphere. Okay, that'll come in handy in a little bit. So I want you to work with your partner. Try to get through this one, okay? See how you do. Be around to help, and then we'll talk about it, okay?
Okay, so I already started.
You still want?
Yeah.
Understanding the perfect fine for this guy.
So, okay.
I think thank you.
So what I did was I took the equation for the volume of a cylinder, which is pi r squared times d. So the radius of the thing is 2. It's basically 2. So pi times 2 squared times 2 is 25.139. And then I did the volume of the sphere, just then 1/3 and pi times r cubed.
Oh my goodness.
And so, what the radius of 5.2
No.
no
Yeah,
whole
the
thing
base.
equals
If you
33.51.
do,
But we're just finding the hemisphere, so we have to
Did you
divide
what?
that by 2.
if you write the number and then put the up symbol,
16.76 rounded. And then I subtracted them.
write 3 or put like 2. Not that, the up arrow. Undo the
So
clear.
this answer is the whole, the radius of
Yeah,
the whole
so write
sphere
2,
that would have been in
up
there.
arrow.
But you have to divide by
And then
2 because it's a
by
hemisphere.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I'm sorry.
So you did this with 2 after, so you did.
Never yellow.
Yep.
And then you found it, and it got
You got 33.51. And then you have to divide that by 2 to get the hemisphere. And that makes sense because the hemisphere is half of the sphere.
I just pretty much started today.
And that equals 16.2.
And why did you subtract it?
Because you're trying to find a composite. Because you want to take away the sphere. Hopefully we'll teach it a little bit better than I think.
Don't count on it.
Just cut yourself with not being actual word.
Yep.
Wow.
Red and green are actually the other colors opposite. Then, everybody would you mess up?
I was obviously joking.
Oh yeah, totally what I said.
And then it's very close to the drinking. They're yellow. You just don't know that. I think they're
So that
like, so they're yellow.
once you know that that is huge.
No, I messed up. But yellow.
Yeah. Just put it in parentheses. And then pi.
And then there's
We have a,
Figured that out.
And since it's
Yeah,
I think I like that part.
everything that's yellow is green, and everything that's red is green. So now,
They start out
no, I thank you for helping this now. Or I told you, what else is green? It's actually red. What else? People say it's different color, but it's actually grape. See, they started as
Like I was talking to the person saying green.
yeah.
I hit that bag, almost tripped. Hit the next bag, almost tripped. Got to this one, hit that bag. And like I fell kind of back on the board like this.
And then they eat this.
You just have to play it cool, you know?
Red, orange, yellow.
Oh, it's kind of like when I forget my pen, you know? You just play it cool. Like, so, okay. Oh, whoops. Okay, you guys got 8.38. Awesome. All right. So, you guys got, or I got pi r squared h, right? What I do here?
you have to divide. What?
Why did I have it half times
Oh,
4?
because it's half a sphere.
Right, because you have to divide it. It's a hemisphere, right? Okay, so I just did all this kind of formula work first. If you waited to divide by 2 until you found the volume of the sphere, you probably got the same answer. Yeah, any questions?
Well, thank you.
No, you're welcome. All right, awesome. Your assignment is online.